Hey guys, and welcome back to Regrets It, Brexit, England. I've noticed, that Vladimir Zelensky, right, has been all over different parliaments, making speeches, the British Parliament, the Senate, um, or Congress, the French Parliament, I think today he's addressing the NATO leaders because, he's fighting for freedom. So that makes him a freedom fighter, fighting for freedom. I wonder why it is, that they've never had, right, the Palestinian leaders address all these people as well. Because, the Palestinians are fighting for their freedom. That's what they're fighting for their freedom, right? But the world has stood by and looked the other way for 80 years. Right? Vladimir Zelensky has been fighting for his freedom for a month, and the world, right, is at his feet. Right? The Yemen have been fighting a war for 8 years. Little black and brown children, and the world's like, that's looking away. But nothing to do with us. That's not our problem. What can we do to help? Nothing. But then we see little Caucasian children being murdered in the world. Oh, no, 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 that can't go on. We need sanctions against all. In fact, right, we need sanctions against Roman Abramovich. You people are, the double standards and the absolute shamelessness, right, of the racism just shows right through. And also, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages sent me, and a special thanks here to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all the messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all your messages for definite. So, this black girl, little black girl that was searched, I think 15-year-old that was searched in Hackney by strip searched by the police. They had, I believe, they had a meeting in Hackney last night, and I was just seeing it on telly a little while ago, right? And I told Black Lives Matter was represented down there. It's just, what really makes me laugh, right? Is every time I see Black Lives Matter, right? There's a whole heap of white people there as well, but they'll be the woke lot. That's who they are. They're all woke because you see, in the black community, right? Because obviously this is woke is a word that we've been using it all the time. So, it's quite new within the Caucasian community, but for us, we've been using it all the time. And it's always meant to us that you're woke, you're awoke to social justice. That's basically what it means. We understand, right? We realise that we're being battered by the police. We're woke to all this type of stuff, right? So that's basically what it means, right? But where it's moved over into the Caucasian community, right, the word woke, right, for the Caucasians means, when the right wing are branding people from the left as woke, it just means, oh, you get on with black and Asian people. That's what that means. Right? Doesn't mean anything else. Trust me on this. It's nothing to do. It's for them. It's nothing to do with nothing about no social justice. It just means, oh, you're white people. You get on with black people and Asian people. So you're woke. Yeah. It's just another. It's just another form of. It's just another way of these people expressing their racism. That's all, right? So anyway, so this black girl in so I think they're going to they've taken 2 or 3 of the police officers involved there off of frontline duty, when obviously they should have been sacked. They should have just sacked them. Do you know what I mean? There shouldn't be none of this pussyfooting around. Do you know what I mean? Just get rid of them, because then that sends a message right through. Do you know what I mean? To say, well, this type of thing is completely unacceptable. But within the black community, this is all these type of things is nothing new. It's nothing new. These things have always been happening to us, right? As I can remember, when we was kids, I was either 13 or 14, but I got a brother who's like 4 years older than me, right? So and we got stopped by the police and with all of our friends and all that. Well, it was all his friends because they was all older than me and I wanted to hang out with them. So they was all older than me, right? But, I can remember like after the police officers strip searched us on the street, right? And this has happened to us enough more than that, more times than you can imagine, right? This comes as just second nature for us. These things just come as second nature, right? But one of my brother's friends, right, he got really annoyed about it, right? So he was like cutting off this policeman. So the policeman's gone to him. So in the end, right, the policeman's as they're driving off, the policeman's going to him, oh, shut up. Anyway, you've got a small cock. Right, obviously, as a group of lads, we're all bursting out laughing. Up till today, we still take the piss about that. Up till today, right? But the implications of that, right? Because he doesn't even live in this country no more. Because he moved to Africa like a few years after that. Because I don't think he could take it. Do you know what I mean? And that I think it really proper disturbed him. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously that police officer said that to him in front of his friends. Which is just a really horrible thing to do to a young lad, if you could imagine. Just a really, really horrible thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where these type of things have been happening to us all the time. Do you know what I mean? And we've been telling not so much our parents, because obviously our parents would be like, "Why is you causing trouble upon the street?" Right, so our parents wouldn't, it's not like now how our parents are now. Back then, our parents would have been fully behind the police because they would have thought that the police aren't, especially like because my parents was just like they were just like working people. They was like working hard all the time. Do you know what I mean? So they never really got involved in anything on the street from when they came to this country. Do you know what I mean? They was just out working to buy their house and all those type of things. Do you know what I mean? So they was not, whereas obviously other people would have come from the Caribbean and they might have hung out in like your betting shops on the streets. But my parents wasn't really into that. Do you know what I mean? They went to the bookies, but that would have been after work. Do you know what I mean? Right? So so they wouldn't, and they would have been behind all the like people like the teachers. They would have never thought that the teachers had a racist agenda behind them. Like my parents, from my generation, our parents would have been fully behind the teachers, not realizing actually these teachers are racially abusing these children, right? But our parents would have been like, no, well, why would the teacher do that, right? So it's not like now. Like it's nothing like now. Our parents would have fully been behind, right, what was going on, not realising, right, that a lot of this is racism. It's just racism showing through. So we couldn't go home and tell our parents, oh, we had an interaction with the police, because our parents would say to us, well, what did you do? They would instantly think that we've done something for the police to interact, and it's not until later on, right, where obviously our parents started to realise, hold on a minute, this is a bit too much now, right? It's happening to them all the time, right? So that's how it was for So what's happened to this young girl? I could imagine has probably happened to thousands of young black girls on the streets, and they've just not really. I mean, they've just like tried. They just had to block it out, So we have P&O ferries. Boris Johnson yesterday said, that what they done was illegal. I'm saying, now you see, Boris Johnson just does this all the time. He just throws things out there, right? Because trust me, what P&O have done yet is not illegal because they're not registered in this country, right? So the laws of this country does not affect them, right? And these guys yesterday, I mean, I even heard them trying to blame Brexit right, for what happened to P&O workers. It's just, you're reaching, aren't you? Seriously, you guys are seriously reaching. But Boris Johnson knows, that actually, he said it's illegal what they've done, and it would be if they're British work under a British workers' contract, it would be illegal, right? But what they have done, trust me, is not illegal. Today you've got one of them having to go in front of one of the MPs committees, right? But it's because as I said, there's not much that they can do about it, right? They're claiming, oh, well, we're going to take them to court, right, for acting illegally. Well, okay, good luck with that, because that's probably just going to get blown out, right? And I've looked at what's going on in the Ukraine, yeah, and the Russians seem to be taking a good old beat. I wanted to phone Obama to find a word. Say to Obama, can you find a word for what's going on, what's happening with Russia? And I know that Obama would have been, I would say they're taking maybe a good shellacking. These motherfuckers are taking a good shellacking, right? They're getting larruped, right, up in there, right? When I tell you the Ukrainians, right, are really stepped up and saying, I saw something the other day, right, and I can't remember what the numbers are, but I'll just use these numbers, right? It's like the Ukrainians have lost something like 60 tanks, right? But they've gained 90 Russian tanks. What? Right. If you see the Ukrainians, yeah, proudly, all the Russian artillery and the tanks and the trucks and the rocket launchers and everything else that they've taken from them, right? Wow, if you see the amount of equipment, right, ordnance, I believe they call it. If you see the amount of it, it's right, and the fact that the amount of soldiers that Russia have lost, right? You just look and think to yourself, these world leaders, right? They have a complete disregard, right, for the life of their citizens, who they send into wars, or they send into countries to go and murder people. I mean, the focus is on Russia right now, but it's not like the West isn't just as guilty of committing as many, if not more, war crimes than Russia's committed. So these, just looking at this now, because obviously this is very modern and we're seeing it all, right? Because this is a war that involves Caucasians, right? It's all over the TV, the radio. So we're seeing what's happening, right? And Russia, right? What this reminds me of. This is like, when you hear about one of those stories where someone's next door neighbor, kidnaps them, murders them, and dismembers their body, right? This is what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing with Russia. This is, what they're doing is horrific to your neighbor. Right. They're using hypersonic weapons, right? And I didn't think that we would see the use of those type of weapons, especially to use hypersonic weapons on your neighbors. I mean, the only next thing is nuclear. That's the only next thing to do. I mean, they've used virtually all of their armory, yeah, on their neighbors, because those hypersonic weapons, right? Those hypersonic missiles, right? They can't be, you can't stop them. You can't shoot them down, right? The only way, right, is you have to hack into it while it's coming to blow you up. You have to hack into it, right, to change its direction. Right? That's the only way of doing it. So it's just amazing that they're using these type of weapons on the Ukrainians, but because I'll be straight with you. I was expecting, right, the Russians to be in Kyiv 2 days after the invasion, and they're just they're taking. When I tell you the amount of soldiers and the amount of weaponry that they've lost is just, you could actually start your own army, right, with the amount of soldiers and the amount of weaponry that the Russians have lost. And I always thought that the Russians was quite good when it comes to war, but it just shows you, yeah, that when these Western powers have to go up against other Western powers, right? Well, I know they're both from the East, but right? Or they have to go up with people who can be sort of equivalent to them. I know Ukraine's not equivalent to Russia. Sorry, but they are holding their own. So it's all these years, yeah, when you've seen the Americans and you've seen the British and they've been having their proxy wars against the Russians, right, via other people fighting the Russians for them, right? Now you've known why these guys have done that, because well, I don't know, what the if the Russians are like this against Ukraine, I mean, if they was fighting the British and the Americans, I mean, the British have got a really good army. We have got we have got a really good army. We're small, but very effective, right? The Americans, effective because it's large, right? If the Americans was a small army, they would get destroyed, right? But they're effective because they're large and they've got all the best equipment, so that makes them effective. But the British Army, right, are more than likely probably the best in the world. You could probably send a few thousand British soldiers into a lot of countries and they could take it over, right? Because they are that effective, right? But but the Russians, the amount of if the Russians went up against NATO, I think they would be using nuclear weapons on the second day, because they'll just get creamed. If we're watching what's happened to them in Ukraine, they would get destroyed, absolutely destroyed, right? So it's been a very challenging and I'm going to have to go a little bit over my time because I'm already over my time already, so I'm just going to have to just run with it, right? It's been a very challenging and bumpy ride for Kate and William in Jamaica. Right, because there was yesterday, right, and you think to yourself, seriously, who is doing your PR? Right, not only is Kate look lovely in her £2,000 suit, as a suit, so it's 2 pieces, so it's £1,000 a piece, £2,000 suit, right, and then they're greeting children, right, through a wired fence. God, you think, well, seriously, who's doing the PR for you? Right, that's not a good look. Right, you touching little black children through a fucking wire fence. How stupid are you motherfuckers? I know William's got this big ass bald patch on the back of his head and the information must be leaking out of there or something. Right, but seriously, right, these people have got a fucking screw loose, right? Because it looked like colonialism. I mean, come on. Do you know what I mean? Just and then the William, he expressed his sorrow and said, "I expressed my sorrow because my forefathers used to whip your forefathers." He didn't say I'm sorry for which to me would have been like, who gives a fuck if you're fucking sorry? Do you think I really care if you're sorry? I don't care about your sorry, okay? Right? In the first place, the motherfucking shit shouldn't have happened. Okay? Simple as that. Right? So you can be as sorry as you motherfucking want, and you can give me as much reparations as you want. Right? I still don't care that you're sorry. I don't care. Okay? You might think, oh, he's very unforgiving. Yeah, I am. I'm unforgiving with all types of racism. Yeah, because, I've lived the whole life of it. So I'm unforgiving with all of it. Simple, right? But I just think, who the hell, right, was doing the PR for you people, right, where you could go and do something that is just so ridiculously stupid, right, as to being greeting little children behind the flipping wire motherfucking fence. I said, what the fuck got into you? Seriously, do you know what I mean? It's like, wow. And then we've got these 50 orphans, yeah, that have arrived from the Ukraine, and I think they've gone into Scotland, right? But now the Brit, they all got a little Union flag as they was getting on the plane, right? But and the people, like, the government and actually it's the Scottish government, and they've gone out of their way. But it's like the UK government is like, it's like they want a special pat on the back, right? And to get into to the UK, right, from the Ukraine, right, they've got a 50-page document, right, and they want you to have an English version, right, of your mortgage, right, and think, well, actually, while I was running out of my house because a hypersonic missile was just coming to hit it, so while I was running out of it, I couldn't actually get to pack my mortgage deeds. Couldn't couldn't get to pack them. So my mortgage papers. So I mean, is there any other way that you could? No, no, there's not. You need that. So could you go back to the house and get it? Probably not. Seriously, these people, right? If you see how hard they're making it, right, for the people of Ukraine, right? Because you know the people of this country are showing their true humanity when it comes down to Caucasians, of course. They're trying their true humanity, right? But the government, right, is still thinking, oh, well, hold on, no, the people of this country, they hate immigrants. Don't matter what colour they are, they hate them all, right? Not realising that, oh, no, 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 no. We hate immigrants, right? But that's mainly because they're brown. But these, you know, these, as we will all be calling them, refugees. Because you know, if you're brown, you can't be a refugee. You've got to be a migrant, an immigrant, right, or someone who wants to break into your country. If you're brown or black, right? But right, they've made a mistake because a lot of people in this country are like, no, 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 no. We didn't mean those type of immigrants, right? We'll help them. So the government made a mistake by thinking, oh, well, you know, we could just stay down our same disgusting racist lines. All right? So, yesterday was the stick insect, Rishi Sunak's big day. Right? Or, as the children like to call him, Fishy Poo Stack. And I did tell you, yeah, that there's nothing that Rishi Sunak could do for the working classes, for us, for for our peoples. Told you there's nothing he could do. Right? You know, you realise that the 5p a litre, right, off of fuel costs, right, just takes it back to what it was last week. That's how much they've lost control of the economy when they can only put the prices back to last week. That's how much, right? I don't know if you realise, right, how serious that is. But that is where we are. He can only put it back to where it was last week, 5p a litre, right? And then you know he's done like he's tried to do the Donald Trump thing, right? By you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to nice up the wealthy, right? I'm going to cut their taxes on the wealthy, right? And then right, the working classes like will applaud me. They'll applaud. Because they used to applaud Donald Trump, the working. You used to see Donald Trump take off these massive tax cuts onto the really wealthy, right? And all of a sudden, all the poor and the working class, like, yeah, oh, he's so brilliant, right? Even though, right, when you know, if we was to get any tax cuts, which we never do, right, it's pennies. It's pennies, right? For rich people, when they get a tax cut, yeah, you know, they get real money dropped into their bank. For us, it's just pennies, means nothing, right? So Rishi Sunak decided the best use of his time yesterday would be to take the VAT off of heat pumps and solar panels. Tell me something there. If you are just about to put heat pump in and solar panels on your roof, yeah, do you think that those are the type of people, right, who are going to be like really proper struggling, right, in this current crisis of living? I mean, it just shows you, right, the Tories where they really are, because they've done nothing. You know, this is just like it's just as simple as, well, everything's going to get a lot worse for you. And can you navigate your own way through it? No. Do you know, the people of this country need to stand up and say, you know something, right? We put you in government to make our lives better. If you can't do that, then you fuck off out of government. But you in government need to make our lives better. Don't care how you get there, right? Don't tell me no bullshit about the economy. Not interested. It's not my job. Okay, that's your job. Just make sure that it works for us, for everybody in this country, right? But we're in a country that's full of food banks, right? And we've got a chancellor, right, that's richer than the Queen. Well, that's with him and his wife combined. I mean, it would be stupid just him one himself being richer than the Queen. Really, it's him and his wife combined is richer than the Queen. So how can you possibly think, right, that someone like that, right, couldn't possibly, right, know what it's like to, I don't know, to put 20 quid's worth of petrol in your car because that's what you've got. Right? Or you've got kids and you go to McDonald's and you just hope that they're still young enough to have a Happy Meal, right? Or the fact that you might have to pay your electric bill in 3 payments. Do you know what I'm saying? These guys, they don't understand that at all. So they don't understand your life. Rishi Sunak, right, the stick insects, cannot understand your life, right? Lydia, that's Rachel Reeves, right? She was saying how that she wanted to like a windfall tax and all these type of things, right? And when you're speaking to Rishi Sunak about it, they say, "Oh no, you can't do that because those companies won't want to invest in Britain anymore." So, well, good, because you should be doing it anyway. Why is the government not in control of North Sea oil? You know why? Because then that way, right, they don't have to disperse the money to the country. They can just disperse it amongst their few. As they do with all of with everything else in this country, they just it's all amongst just their few, where all that money is dispersed. Why do you think they've sold off everything? Just so a few can live off of it, rather than the whole country benefiting from it. The whole country, shouldn't be allowed to benefit from from I'm just an example, Thames Water, or from or from when it used to be like London Electric or whatever, right? The whole country, or British Gas, the whole country, the whole country can't benefit from that. Only a few must benefit from those things, right? But as I keep telling you guys, right, all of this, right, has happened to you in this country, right, because all the time you have been fighting a false fight against people who look like me. And the level of stupidity that you people have shown, right, it's just like, you should have had Lethal Bizzle. They say, pow, a punch in the face, because that's all the Chancellor done. That's all the Chancellor done to you yesterday. It was just a punch in the face. So remember that. Right? When you're putting fuel in your car, because by next week that 5p is going to be gone, because when you can only control the economy for a week, right, then it's going to come back. That's going to come back. So there was in the Chancellor's summer statement, there was nothing in there, right, for the people of the Red Wall, right, the people who decided, you know what, I'm going to go against Jeremy Corbyn, John McDonnell, we don't like that Diane Abbott. We're going to go against them, right, and put in people, right, who have no idea what my life is possibly like. Right, let me tell you this, right, you've probably got much more in common with the black woman Diane Abbott, right, than you have with Rishi Sunak and Boris motherfucking Johnson. Okay, the black woman Diane Abbott would understand your fucking life, you fucking racist dicks, right? But you went against that, right, and voted in this cabal, right, because of your stupid ass racism. And you know something? Me for one, right, I'm so glad that it's come back to bite you in your backside, right? And your backside is motherfucking bleeding. Anyway, look, I'm not. 15 minutes over my time. So this is By Any Means Necessary. I'm James D. John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.